All right, looks like everyone's kind of winding down, waking back up. Singers woke up from inside that tent, that teepee over there. So whoever left their key card, if you're missing it, got it over here. Whoever is missing their room card, we got it. Otherwise, we'll go try the door. If you're missing it, come on over here. We got it. Yep, singers woke up in the teepee, spent the night. At least I clean it up, at least, boys. Thought they were trying out a new song, Changadepa, and dinosaur song. Yeah, give us a good one, boys. We're going to be coming in right after lunch. They're getting the room squared away for our guests, everything else. Right after this, we're going to go into the spiritual committee, Madonna Sitting Bear. Also the education and outreach, Chante Hart. Tribal and Treaty Council engagement. And 3 to 4 p.m. Next step, what are the action items? Probably get done here about 3:30, maybe 4 latest. Might get out of here sooner than later, but for those that have trouble driving a long ways, you know, they want to help you out by offering you another night. And I do believe that for those that did sign up ahead of time, there's the travel. Those will be here this afternoon too, so don't be acting too right now, because you'll get your gas ride home. You'll get your ride home. Even keep you another night. Just as long as that floor don't take you down, you'll be starting a GoFundMe tonight. Help Lakota elder in need. Hey, anyway. Hookah. All right, thank you. Looks like everyone's coming back in here that's going to be here. Right now in our agenda, we do have spiritual committee. That's you? All right. Melvin, Madonna. Then right after that, we have education and outreach, Chante Hart. But go ahead, Mr. Minor.
Palami Alatoashi. I apologize for speaking in front of our elders. Madakiapi, Chante Washtea, Nape Chuzapelo. Yuha Yushkia Wachiankapi Elo. Malakota Chetalute Melo. Melvin Minor Machapelo. At this time, I'd like to call upon our spiritual committee members to come on up and join me. Madonna Sitting Bear, Vida Dogskin, and Tui Ramona White Plume. There's others here that might have been involved in our committee, can come on up if you'd like. I'm trying to see if I see any more. But we just, before, I know we did it here, but before each of our meetings, spiritual committee, we always want to remember prayer and be grateful for why we're here. So we wanted to call upon our Tui here to give us a prayer to start us off in this afternoon session. Tui Ramona, if you could. Pray, we'll check ya.
Oha toska pilamaya. Ale ampeti ki you had sente wastia na pair cheese papi. Now, my name is S. Ramona White Plume. My Lakota name is Ta'oye Wakami. I come from the Oyuchbe Oyate along the banks of the Wounded Knee Creek. And I want to ask all of you to bear with me. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Close your eyes and envision your nitrunka shila ni unchi, your unchi and your grandfather. Wakatakaya tunka shila o makia mitaku ye masani te ate wakantanga o makia ye hai atakashla nang jiong apetukile apetuluta onyakupi na wo pilawota onichi happy no tikashla on lakhotapi no ngitro kabia takuni o techikesni tukashla wo wichala yuha maonipi no tikashla trakoza on gitraki yupia winukchala no wichachala ihunipik de cheunkiapia midakio yase.
Lilo Opilata Tui. I'll go ahead and introduce myself and let our fellow committee members introduce themselves as well. As I said before, my name is Melvin Minor. My Lakota name is Red Hawk. I'm a member of the Cheyenne River Oyate. I'm a Huk Papa, Minakoju, Oglala, na Itazicho. And I'm very grateful for being here, for being part of this effort. And I just wanted to say Lila Wopila Tonka for each and every one of you for being here with us today. I'm going to pass the mic over to Madonna.
Madakiapi Madonna Matho Iotake Emachiap. Si Changu Lakota Hemacha na Tioshpe Ashke Gluipi Emataha. My name is Madonna Sitting Bear. I come from the Sichangu Lakota people, and I am a part of the Ashke Gluipi Tioshpe, where I married into the Tioshpe. Today we come to just kind of give our remarks and give the updates on what we've been doing since the last time we met. The last time that we met, we were at the convening, but we were just coming back from Devil's Tower, Matotipila, with Lekshi Rick making prayer up there. When these meetings first got started, everyone collectively had mentioned that we follow that star path that, throughout the year and make those prayers at all the sacred sites. And so we completed that journey this year, and me, myself, and all my committee members each of us have gone to each and every one of these sacred sites. We've taken our woye, we've taken our offerings, we've followed, the protocols and everything that Lekshi Rick, taught us and showed us how to do this. And so we took that prayer collectively for the Black Hills and for the return of the Black Hills to our people. And so I want to, say thank you to my committee members too for helping with that this year and for carrying that prayer. In the spring, we went into ceremony. We took Lekshi Rick a pipe, and we presented that pipe to make that prayer, to get guidance so that we knew how to go forth and go forward. And I know we've been updating ever since then. And it was a good message that was brought back to us. And the one thing that I do remember within that message was that they told us that the Black Hills will return to us. It'll come to fruition. And so to me, I always think about that when I get disheartened or when I, see things and that hurts me to look at my children and wonder if our kids will ever get the land back. I always remember what they said in ceremony that time. And so I hope one day that we can all find the solution to all of these things that go into this for the Black Hills, and so that we can come to a collective agreement so that we can we can do our part of that and meet that prayer halfway to make that happen for our people, for our children, for our grandchildren, for the future, generations to come. And so I kind of want to give a background to the spiritual committee as far as how this happened. I know at one point, all of these committees were created, and along with that was created the spiritual committee. And we've always been open to everybody being able to join and to be with us. And I really, really say thank you to those who have come and participated and who have brought their knowledge. And, people like She Ivan too, he showed up a couple of times and, was able to help kind of guide us and give us some good information and knowledge, to take forth as we go along this path, because it's not just about the Black Hills, it's about everything that is for us. It's our wizikwa. So everything that we do, our everyday life, it all comes back and it centers with the Black Hills. And so that's some of the stuff that I've learned. But so we created that committee then, and we've all been working together to do this. We've been to ceremony. We did Wopila at Lekshi Rick's this summer at a small dance. And we're very, very thankful that he accepted that pipe from us to be able to make this prayer for the people. And I really encourage everyone here, and even, I don't know if it's live feed or not, but again, like we always encourage people, come take part, but be active with us too, because we want to hear everybody. We want to hear from the oldest to the youngest, what you have, your ideas, how we can make prayer together. And I really hope that we gain more committee members, through all of this. I think I'm going to give it back to Melvin. We took a break this summer in order to have, to do our spiritual ceremonies all individually. And I know we had encouraged everyone to take the prayer back into their sun dances, wherever they're praying at during the summertime, to create where that life, our new year began, and to help with that prayer, but to continue to carry it. And so I just want to encourage everyone here again too, please make that prayer. We're all here, we're all together. Make that prayer for the Black Hills, that we return it. And when we went in the first time with our pipe, we didn't ask for anything. We just prayed about guidance, and that was it. But that, our children would be able to come back to this land again. And it was a really, really simple prayer. So it doesn't take much, but I want to remind everyone, please, sometimes we get bogged down with all of this other stuff, all the logistics and all of that stuff, but I really hope that each and every one of you, when you go back to your own circles that you pray with, that you don't forget about this, and that prayer is always made one heart, one mind, one prayer. Again.
Sure. Wopila Tui, or Wopila. No, what Madonna said really rings true. One heart, one mind, one prayer. We heard it here today several times. We've heard it throughout the beginning of these efforts in regards to unity and how important that is. And, with Standing Rock here approving their resolution, we heard from the Sichangu Oyate approving their resolution, and then just you being here today, we're uniting here. It's in steps. It's happening in increments. We're trying. This is our chance here. We know how important prayer plays in part of our everyday lives as Lakota Oyate, as people. So, let's how did like she said, he said, let's take that stand now. Let's take that chance. So please remember these efforts in your everyday prayers, because we need them. We know what prayer can give us. We're gonna be here. We've fought through genocide. We've fought through everything to get here. Our ancestors, everything that they did, laid down their lives, stood up for everything on prayer. So that's what we're here to encourage everybody, is to keep that prayer going. And as committee members, we know our task and what we need to do, and so we're here trying to do everything to make this happen. And like she said, Madonna, she encouraged everybody to help join us in those efforts and be part of our committee. Give us your suggestions, give us your perspective, help us, because we're going to need help. We're the younger generation. We look up to the older ones here for guidance. Tui, like she, Rick, and others. We don't do this without their guidance, and we don't do this without the guidance of our Tunkashilas and Wankantanka as well. So we need them. Just a little more kind of some future plans, I guess, what committee has been talking about. We went to Bear Butte here for the, the fall equinox, and now we kind of took a break because of the summer ceremonies, and we're starting to reconvene with our meetings again, and we're trying to figure out what we need to do next. But one of the meetings, Tui mentioned, throughout this process, just everyday lives, but this process, these efforts, it could get frustrating, could get tiresome, because we want it to happen so quick, but we know this is going to take a while for it to come to fruition. And so we get tired, we get worn down, and we need to remember to take care of ourselves, and we need to remember to take care of each other as well, and take care of our people. So what Spiritual Committee wanted to do, as far as one of our next steps, was during LNI weekend, or the week of LNIs, we wanted to invite each and every one of you down, and possibly we may have a ceremony of some kind, maybe a wiping off ceremony of some sort, but we just need to do that so we can keep taking care of ourselves, especially in this effort, because we need to give it our all in order to come to fruition.
So at our last committee meeting, we were talking about different things and how do we move forward, especially after giving Wopila, this last year, for the help that we did receive overall. And, Tui Ramona has always been there with us. She's been really, consistent and shows up, all the time on Zoom, keeps in contact, and, she's been really, really awesome. And we talked about it, and what she had talked about was, like reminding us of, almost as a mother, as the female that she is, and reminded us that, all these people are doing this work, especially, Indian collective staff, all the committees, everyone who sits on those committees, and some of you, like the treaty council members, those of you that have been really actively involved, we give thanks to you. And so through that, she reminded us that we need to take care of each other. That's what it means to be a good relative. And so we need to take care of each other. And she had suggested that we do, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tui, but for the people who have been doing the work. And so that's kind of where we came about through that. But I'm gonna give her the mic, and she can talk a little bit more about that, and a little bit more background, or explain it a little bit more and what it means.
I thought I was done talking. I think as human beings, we get a lot of things thrown at us, and we carry that around with us. We know all too well the Western perspective of wonawizi, gossip, greed, and jealousy, and sometimes some of us experience that. And it stays with us, and we carry it around, and then pretty soon it gets to the point where you just feel anxiety, you feel burdened by something, but so this Wopa Kinte is a spiritual cleansing. You get wiped off with sage. Your spirit gets wiped off, and you leave some of that trauma, hurt, pain, grief. You leave some of that. You get some of that wiped off, and it's a tool to help you. It's not going to hurt you. And this is just a recommendation, and I know I get this done for myself 4 times a year, and it's helped me. Because according to La Kolwichoch, we all say we practice that. One of those Othala Maoni Pikte. Othala Maoni Pikte. So, Toja Madonna mentioned that, and then that's going to be open for whomever wants to come participate. Akhemitaki epi yuha chante washte na peo chius papi.
Ampetuskau imacha, ochinupa ihangtua Dakota imacha. My name is Mabel Ann Eagle Hunter. I'm an elder enrolled member of the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. My mother is from the Ihangtua. Feather necklace, Tioshpai. As Misu Bill Means said, this has been a long fight. When we were young people, we were fighting for this, for the Black Hills. At that time, he mentioned that we had the chiefs with us. We had strong elder women with us. And now as an elder, I'm fortunate to be here, to be that elder, to be here in support of you younger people that are leading the fight. Again, it's an honor for me to be here among all of you. We're here because that's our land. That's where we come from. Spirituality is always first and foremost. That's who we are. And I know that we'll get that land back. It belongs to us. We're part of that land. And I hope my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren aren't still fighting. But I see the fierceness and the determination and the love for Sapa of the people like you that are standing to fight.
Haomidakiapi. Ohitika Omaniwi Imachiapi. My name is Vida Dogskin. I'm from Cannonball, North Dakota, and this is my home. I first came into a meeting. It was suggested I go to a land strategy meeting. So I went to one in Rapid City, and I heard a lot of things that touched my heart. I'm a recovering addict alcoholic. I have a lot of trauma that I grew up with, a lot of trauma that I lived in my life. So I had a lot of healing to do. I've been working on myself, and I've been doing a lot, and so when I got into my spirituality and really started going to groups, just like Lekshi Lyle talked about, being in person, going to these ceremonies, learning firsthand, not from a book, has really made a difference. I see a lot of my elders in here, and I apologize for talking in front of you because a lot of you elderly women in here have made a big impact in my life, and I love you all. And I apologize for taking so long to realize that, but I want to learn now, and I want to become strong, and I want to be able to teach my grandchildren, not just my grandchildren, but all of our grandchildren, to share with them what I'm learning, to get this healing going. Because when I heard about this land back in my own way, I heard people talk about their grandchildren and how long of a fight this has been, and all I could see was healing. Getting this land back is going to be a big healing for our people. And I went to the ceremony with Lekshi, Rick, and what he said told us, there's going to be obstacles ahead, and it's going to be a long fight, but we're going to get the land back. The Spirit said that, and I believe that. I believe it in my heart, and I feel it in my spirit. My spirit is proud today to stand up here at home. I live down in Spearfish, and I'm close to the Black Hills. I get up every morning, I get to look at those Black Hills, and I love it. And I say prayers for all of you guys every morning. I just want to say I love you all, and we're going to get the land back. Ashte. Kalamia.
So one of the other things I wanted to hit on before we kind of close up here, if Melvin, I don't know, if you guys have more to say, let me know. But one of the things we were working on when we went into ceremony in the spring, one of the things that was brought forth was to translate the document into Lakota. And so we've been working with the education outreach and specifically with Mark Tilson to get this done and to find people to do this, and myself alone, you know, looking and asking and stuff. And I think we're moving forward with that in a pretty good way, but I wanted to put that out there because I know that somebody, you know, people had mentioned that too at one point. And so we're working on that. And especially now with the transition of, you know, within the government, on the government side of it, you know, things I feel like are kind of slowing down a little bit more so we can give more attention to things like that. But through that process too, you know, it reminded me of like our protocols and how we ask people to do things, how, you know, for important things like that. But then I took that thought and it grew back to like how we follow those protocols too as Lakota people. And through the spirituality and the messaging that, you know, we've gotten for this prayer that we've put down and put forth. And I just want to, you know, give a soft and gentle reminder that those protocols are always there spiritually, that, you know, when those things are interpreted, you know, we have to open our ears and kind of listen and to move forward in that direction, because we can't forget who we are and where we come from. And so everything, there's protocol wrapped around it. And so when I formed that thought, you know, I really want to encourage all of our tribal leaders, all of our treaty people, you know, those of you who are working on this, you know, if we can help assist you and get you to these ceremonies, it would be really, really awesome to have you there to pray alongside with you for this, you know, together. For the work, and so that's the encouragement that I want to put forth, because, you know, following that, we need that prayer, we need those protocols to be adhered to, but also within those protocols and the interpretation and following that comes, you know, everyone knowing what those things are being said, and the interpretation that comes through ceremony, and sometimes you can only hear it by being there. And so I really invite everyone, you know, who wants to be a part and wants to take part of the committee, please come, especially our leaders, no matter who you are, a leader of your Teoshpai, a leader of the tribe, a leader, you know, whatever it is, come and make prayer with us. And so you can hear firsthand what's being interpreted, and so that we know what path we should be following for that year. Because sometimes I think we forget about that, and it's easy to forget about that. But, you know, again, if anyone wants to be added, we do everything, majority of everything by email, and we do have a group text now that we've created. But we like to send out our Zoom invites through email. So if you have an email that you want added to the list, you know, come see us. Melvin is the one that really handles majority of that. And so just see him and we can add you so that, you know, we can have that active participation from each and every one of you. And, you know, if it is a live feed going, you know, I want to invite the Standing Rock relatives. Come be a part of that because we need you too. We need everybody.
Old age itis, I forgot one more thing. I want to thank NDN, that organization of young intellect fighters that brought this, sponsored the first meeting, and have brought a lot to this fight. Lila Wopila.
Again, we just want to say Wopila Tonka to each and every one of you, for the committees, for Indian Collective, for the Standing Rock Oyate, and thank you to our elders for helping us and guiding us in this effort, and Lila Wopila Tonka to Tunkashila for everything. So Chante Wajila, Tawachi Wajila, Oyate Wajina, Wacheke Wajila. One heart, one mind, one prayer. We have a question over here. Lexi? We'll start our Q&A now.
Good afternoon. My name is Dave Archambault. I'd like to thank Indian Collective and especially this committee that's going on. My relatives, I just want to say I come and I'd like to say some words in behalf of a fellow that called me his little brother, and that was Virgil Killstreet. And he was from the Medicine Root District in Kyle, and that's where my daughter Jody, my son, and all, they were all little, and they grew up in that nest of culture that was there. And Virgil started the 500-mile Sacred Hoop Run around the Black Hills. It goes on today. He had a vision of, he wanted our people to understand that at that time, this was in 1981, that Black Hills was ours, was our land, and our spiritual home, our homeland, our spiritual. He wanted, and it seemed like, so along with Sievert Youngbear, we started this run. Goes on today. But, you know, it's this awareness, I think, that I just heard spoken here by the committee, that we have to understand that, get more awareness of this. And I really thank this effort to get this back, because that, as Virgil would say, you know, that is who we are and why we were. Why we are was the ceremonies, the spiritualism that was practiced there, that our people would come from the plains all over, and they would practice ceremony. And there they learned how to be Lakota, and other tribes that come there, but that was the center of everything is. It just seems like, you know, Virgil, I was so fortunate to get to know that little community in Medicine Root, Kyle, South Dakota. That was Johnson Last Horse. He was a headman in the old way that we just heard some mention of traditional government, Royal Bull Bear. There was this old knowledge of this, of how it is we are put together, this understanding of walking around Earth, and it comes from that. It comes from the Black Hills, Sapa. So this effort here is I think, it wasn't spoken to in the Indian Claims Act, one of the things that was said there, but it's spiritual. The reason why we should have that, and all of our people out here on the prairie had a place to understand who and why we are. So it's essential that anything that we go forward, as the committee has said, and for this effort, is that there's a Indian Religious Freedom Act that says we have a right to practice. So we must endeavor, because that is who we are, we must retain that. And this fight now, it seems like it's uphill, really an uphill struggle, always has been, to retain this. But with the intelligence of the younger people here, I think that this is exactly what we got to do. The struggle's got to continue. I'm real thankful that we have young people here that are starting to understand it, but we needed a whole bunch more. And that's like Virgil wanted, he would like to have had a pilgrimage. He wanted to have masses going around the Black Hills in commemoration of who and why we are, when he started that, him and Siebert Youngbear. I just want to close with one thing. Is we also had, we put together, I had some real good runners, and that's why we did the run, but we also ran from San Quentin to Los Angeles, another 500-mile run. And that was to free Leonard Peltier back in the day. And that fight goes on. And that's a big one. If we can, all these seem like these this is doable. And I'm real happy that we have young people that understand this, and the more we can get this out there to our younger people, and the more we can broadcast this, I think we'll be who we are and why we are. But that's the Black Hills. Pilame, thank you.
Anything else for spiritual committee? Lexi Joel.
I came up here to because I wanted to share some encouragement and stuff too, but I got up here late. I was telling my taha, I said, yeah, nobody even said anything. They just said, it's up at Prairie Nights. Nobody mentioned that roundabouts. I was coming that way, and there's a bunch of construction going around. I was staying on the road. Pretty soon I looked up and I was pulling back into McLaughlin's. Had to turn around and start again. I wanted to spiritual committee lila pilamela, but I wanted to share some things here, encouraging everybody, but also letting my elders. There's quite a few folks here that are older than me, and I was a young boy, and you guys were the adults, and you were doing you were the warriors. You were the forefront of our battle. So I just wanted you to know I paid attention. Sometimes I know some things I want to share with just so to help you remember, but to share with the younger folks. They mentioned ceremony down at Rick Two Dogs. That's who you're talking about. Anyway, 1981. You know, we're all involved in the long term. And in 1981, went to a ceremony there, and it was in fall. And here, Khashunkawit came. He said, I want to talk to all of the leaders, but he said, there's an important message, but he said, I'm going to come at the last day of this Washichu year. He said, I'm going to come here. If you put up a Lawampa, he said, I'll show up here. So people, and this is important because we're up here at Standing Rock, and this was down there in Ogallala country, but it's a part of the whole territory that we're talking about, and especially the Black Hills. And at that time, he said, Duksha, I'll be there that night. And so there's two guys I remember. There was more, but two I remember, Reginald Birdhorse and David Yellow Spotted Horse, I believe is the name. And they were the real men, older men at that time, but they came down there, and there was, I don't know if Kills was there, but I know Russ and them guys. So we had leadership from different areas of our existence. And so they were there, but they all showed up that night. And the issue was the Black Hills, and that's what he came to talk about. He said, this year, he said, we are threatened with the total loss of these Black Hills. The Washichu is going to shut it down and throw it out of court, and as far as they're concerned, they're going to say that it's done and over with. But he said, you need to, they believe in that court system, so you need to keep it alive in that court. So what I want you guys to do, he said, when the Wakion come back this spring, all of you, go out there in them Black Hills and pick a site. He said, we're all different, Tushpai, different Ospai. We know different parts of these Black Hills. Take some people you can get along with and go and set up a camp. And when the Washichus come there to get you out of there, go along with them, because that's going to give you a court date. And it's going to keep it alive in the court system. And here was sitting up there on the hill at Evergreen Housing after that, right around that first storm. And here, Russell Means called. Rick, 2 dogs. Rick, he said, shit, Kills and them guys are headed for the hills. And, you know, and so they went up to Yellow Thunder. So, you know, this medicine person that you're talking about, and the elders that are sitting in this room, some of them, they've been at this a long time, and I think it's just encouraging to talk about it. And I was just a young man at that time, but I remember those things like that. And so I know it's a long drawn out battle, but geez, a lot of folks fought a long time before us too. And so, you know, we just keep going, but the ability is in the education and keeping the young folks interested, but also knowing our older folks and the stories that they have to tell, so that we can connect the two. Because at my age, I feel like I'm right in the middle of the older generation and the younger generation, and it feels good. But so I wanted to share a part of that. Hechilina, Tukashlimit Felix Green Ichab, Hechila Norris, Kitaya, when he was little, that's where he lived with his folks. And now Helena, he used to talk about things. He got old and lived out his life down at Cherry Creek. And so I got to, went to stay down there several times, visit a lot. And he talked about different things. The one thing, we chui chaga shakoi ihambele, the 7-generation vision. He said, this is important. He said, you got to pay attention to this one here. And he said, when the white man first came here on this holy island, the spirits here told the Lakota people, this white man is here now. For 7 generations, you people are going to walk away from where you are now. So I had a stroke earlier this year. Sometimes things kind of leave. I should now start over. When the white man first landed here on this holy island, the spirits here told the Lakota people that this white man is here now. So they said, for 7 generations, you people are going to walk away from what you have now. So pay attention, because the 7th generation that's born is going to be born with the curiosity to want to know who they are, what they are, and where they come from. It's this generation that's going to turn around and begin the journey back to where you are now. So pay attention, because everything you pass on the way there, they're going to pass on the way back. And as long as it takes you to get there, that's how long it's going to take them to get back. So Hechilana, he said, remember this. He said, everything you do today is a conditioning for tomorrow. So I used to like to have to hitchhike wherever I'm going. Sometimes I show up late for gatherings, just like today. I'm still the same way. But I carry these things, these memories that they talked about, and it was just a conversation. But I thought it would be a good piece to add to our strategy in the spiritual committee here. Because if we look back and we study everything that our folks, grandfolks came through all the way up until today, Hetchina, that's where we're at. In 2010, we had a children's dance in Iron Lightning, South Dakota. Hetchilana, he said, nobody is born all on the same day. No generation is born on the same day, or they don't all die on the same day. They all overlap. So you look at a generation, logically, it's about 70 years. 7 times 70, 490. 1492, and we're coming up, and we passed 500 years. Then we're coming up to 2010. Hetchilina wana wakanja kile kaweka ki nakule ihani gakia kitayomani. They came that far, and they helped us to turn around. And now we're on that journey back to where our ancestors were told about. And so if you study that, everything that, when they signed that treaty, all of those acts of legislation that they put together, that they're enacted and they're using today, they're all one-sided. They never talked to the Indians at all. These are all things that they did. Our side is still open. We have to Hetchilina back this way. Hetchilina, 4 years ago, back 4 years, Hetchilina, they had that same bad man there. And now he's here again. But that's encouraging because we know that we've made that turnaround. All we're going to do is look back where Unchi and Lala came, and all of the things, that the problems and that came with it. There were solutions that were there before they made the problem. So as we turn around and we go into the future, we study all of this legislation, study the jurisdiction issues, study the treaties, study the culture, the language, the education that goes with our culture. And we're going to meet that on the way back. 7 generations now we're going to travel again back. But the path has already been made when we're coming here. The grand folks put that there. So if we pay attention, you know, Wounded Knee was terrible. But it happened on the journey here. Twice there was incidents there. So we have to look ahead and we have to get ready and we have to think logically and realistically. So there's things that are still coming, there's still struggles. But there's all these other things that we need to sit down and talk about now. I see some of these younger folks here. They're all college folks, all really smart. You guys are the ones that need to sit down and look at these papers. Look at the incidents, put them in chronological order. How are we approaching them? How are we going to go down this road 500 years, 490 years, 7 generations? So anyway, I brought that as part of the strategy I want to share. So I try, you know, so, because that's important. So anyway, so I brought that here for us to think about, but not to push it on you, but because it's just conversations I heard the old folks talking about when I was a young boy. And I chased around behind Madonna at the survival school, followed kills, them guys back and forth across the country a couple times. So, you know, I got to see some of the older folks, you know, and Richard, I'm going to say this out of respect and a little bit about Richard. When I was with Chocha at Pine Ridge with the Oglalas, his mother, they used to bring a man over from Rosebud, Hechilena, Rudy runs above Lil, Yuipi Wichasha Kile Hechinaso. You know, in his way, indirectly, he really helped me to learn a lot because it gave me the opportunity to go sit in there in that ceremony, those Luampis. And they talk about things like this too, what we're discussing here. So there's some history there that I look around in this room, and it's encouraging to me because some of you young folks that are sitting here now, when I first saw our elders, they were young like you, and they were smart. And they got us this far. And we can still keep going. There's no end to being Indian. She goes on and on. And it's going to be a struggle. Sometimes it's going to be good. Sometimes we're going to get along. Sometimes we're going to fight. It's like that. That's life. So, but I wanted to encourage the spirit gets hungry too. So sometimes we have to get here together, dig in that dirt, and somebody come up with a memory. It doesn't have nothing to do with that meeting, but it's a memory, and it freshens everybody else's memories. You dig that dirt, you smell it. It's like rain, smells fresh. That's how it feels when we come and sit together like this. We've got a lot of work to do. I don't do my part in all of that, but I like to come and visit. But I won't keep up any more of your time. But you're all doing good. We're all doing good together. So I'm going to add that as an encouragement to this spiritual committee and to all of you. And thank all of you for your hard work and encourage you, Hetchelina, don't give up. You're all doing good. So, Hetchet. Pilamia.
Lamia. Just to be respectful of everybody's time, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Tahashi Charles and for their next committee report. So we'll be let Tancha Hejitul. Dakiase.
How do you follow that? I just want to say a few words here concerning what these young people have just went through. As part of the legislation, we need documentation to put with that. Spiritual, what they just got through talking, you know. So I put down, I showed Jody, I wrote it out here, a little map, and I think we need to put they put up a Black Hills map up there, map of the Black Hills, not necessarily a map, but that heart that they put up, they should have that. They should have the racetrack that Tanshi, Dave talked about. And they should have each, one of those 4 pointed stars on each of the sacred sites we have. Peshla, Matotibila, Hihankaga, you know, you all those 7 sacred sites in there, those areas. And then as supplemental to that map would be the stories of each one. So I just wanted to say that because that's, I think that we could, how do we carry a verbal prayer into that except we carry it within ourselves. So, but when we take it to the legislation, we should put it in that form. So I just want to suggest that much to that. So then now I'm going to turn this over to Chunte Hart and you guys over there. Here's, catch it.
All right, I'll bring the microphone on over here to Chante and Company.
They saved the best for last. Where do you want to? Petu washte me takiupi. Chante washte na petu zapi. We have someone else wants to speak over here. Before I get started, I'll let the Sunji speak.
Ome taku yapi, you hana tayawa chia kapi, na taya ya hipi, de taku dina wa echu chaka, na wa echu kenach chaka, ed echanu pikta. Es taku ma ayabedezaba echu a chimpi. Manamanie to ota, o pauere yamanito boahetche diaked. Washichu wa pikacha batakuna you hana owot hana oapshni. My relatives, I'm glad to see all of you here. You're involved in a very powerful and very complex area. And you know, for over maybe 400 years, in these books that the white people have written about us, they've never told it like it really is. And I think it's time that we try to do something like that. You know, when we talk about land, makaki de wakakyam, and heboicha kahecha. When we talk about land, that's very, very sacred because we live from the land. And we have to really try to be factual and truthful about it. And we say this all the time on our reservation to our tribal government. Just talking to Charles again because they're talking about the land. And the tribal land we think is ours. So anyway, that's beside the point. But Dina Daya Echanu Pikta, if you can come forth with something, because we all had to learn about these things. And that young man over there who was talking about long time ago, my relative Reginald Bird Horse and my adopted father David Spotted Horse, they were the ones who would talk about the lands that were originally ours, and also Mr. Oliver Red Cloud was the chairman of that treaty council. But we, as Wichina speakers, many of us don't really relate, except I relate through one of my heritage lines to Sapa. And I guess my big concern is that when we mention Oceti Sakowin, for you young, learned people who are taking on this big project, Oceti Sakowin, we have to try to understand that. 1930, Hehan Mathumpi, Naha ina at kuku, wa imachaged mo, Naha tio wajina on tipi, hetched, ehani hetched on chipi. I was born in 1930 and grew up in a one-room house. And my mother's father lived with us. 1845, he was born in 1845. The relatives would come to visit. Chapagmia gnahib. Henika o inja bakshicha boyete hena you hanagduha hipsa. And the relatives would come and visit, coming in a wagon. They bring their blankets, their food, and all the belonging, all their things that they needed to live with. And you know, they would Wogadag Yankapi. There was some of them came from the east when the people had to flee that area in order to live. Some of those older people who would come and visit my Tunkashi my Anghi, now Wogadag Yankapi, come to visit him. And some of them were from the east. Dakuma Iwogadakapisa, Oceti Sakowin. Who is that that's in the seven fires? Now, they talked about it different than what you see written down today. Because Owabik Dina, Jonah na Owa, Ewichaganakapi, there's very few written in that. Ash Dina, Ehani ni hek Sapapi. Na takwe chua chim hantash. Hena you hana echum daya chum chimpi. And so wo Dakota ogna ki hewa stekel na hechid wakaja wia ka tanka kanki na wayazakapi. Na oyate kitaya umpta, chanke Oceti Sakowin karapi. The people believed that we should live in peace because in that way, the sick, the children, the elderly, and everybody lived well. So that's why they made that organization. Na ehani wogdaka piki he, tatoya topa. Now they said the people in Oceti Sakowin, there were 7 groups from each of the 4 directions. So when we refer to that in whatever you write, please explain that. Because you know the Iroquois League wasn't the only organization developed for peace. We people in this part of the country, we also had Oceti Sakowin, whose purpose was peace. And when you look at who was involved in it, was it Dakota, Hemacha, Chianahe, Hunupatina, Oshbaya, Eta, my mother's main blood was lined with that. Esh Atewa Kihe. And to try to identify what we call ourselves in our own language is very important. No. When our people talk, they abbreviated things and dropped syllables, and they were part of it. Now, who are those people? They're the people that are called today Hidatsa. And Iuhana chaje on Yuhapiki, Dukteta, Maka akan uhipiki he chash untrumpi. Our people said that we were named for the place we came to the surface of the earth at. When I say for myself, Hunupatina, where are those places? The Hunupatina is a pyramid or hill over there south of Valley City. And Hunupati is Heart Butte, which is along the shores of Miniwaka. And we think about all these things, and and we chiana eapki he waechum hapiki he we are wo chahe we chakahi. And when we have ceremonies among the Wichina people, they come from a woman whose name was the Laws. And we have to kind of, I think, focus on who we really are when we do these very good things which need to be done. Because, you know, they say the sacred Sapa, and that's true. Many of the Titroa speakers, that's their origin place, is Sapa. And what do they call themselves? I've been trying to find out. Ogodada, how do they refer to themselves? I don't know that. And Sichahu, Henai Nachni, Chajewi Chatapina Checha. Maybe those are like nicknames or something. So we can put that all down. And I think whatever we go forward to, in order to prove, Henama Koche Unkitawapi, go and ask us, invite us to when you write these things up. That's what we try to get across to our tribal council, my friend and I. Invite the people who know what's going on the reservation and then write it up. But I think we're kind of doing the right thing here, that the way it was put out there, daku copy, the way it's put out there. So some of my relatives, my Chewa relatives, came to be here with us too, because they are part of Oceti Sakowin. And think about that, and put those things in whatever we do and whatever we ask, because it's always a tendency, you know, for us to always want to be the important ones. So we don't always include everybody who should be part of that, and what they're called. And then, you know, in the olden days, they met the Eastern Bunch. They met the Western Bunch. You know, and that's the way that they identified 4 different groups. And as I said, I've never been able to straighten out the Hohe speakers. I've asked those that I've met, Fort Belknap, and Omang Ho Chunk, and you're way over there in Wisconsin. How did you separate? And it's unfortunate. Our young people are not into who they really are. So I ask those of you who are going to be doing all this hard work, this involved hard work, please let us know, and we'll make it wherever you are to kind of sit with you and see how we can put this all down the way it should be, and at the same time, kind of deal with this misinformation that's out there about us. You know, the Titwayapi, they don't ever acknowledge that they were gardeners before, a long time ago. Hena wojupi, hecha unwa jimini kawojuem, omang hena hochwojuem. People who plant beside the water, and people who use a fish when they're going to plant something. Oh, I know she's waiting for the mic and they want to make their presentation, but please don't put out any more information about us, especially when it comes from us, pertains to our land. Pidamaki.
Thank you. We'll get your name in for the committees, okay?
Pardon?
We'll get your name and invite you to the committees. Okay. Thank you.
Wopila unji. Betu washte me dakyupi, chante washte na betjus api, chante heart amachi api, ohinumpa lakota na si changu yate etaha na miniluzaha awati, wiaka napi tioshpaye mataha. Good afternoon, my relatives. My name is Chante Hart. I come from the Feather Necklace, Tioshpaye. I'm Sichangu and Ohinumpa Lakota, and I live in Rapid City. And I'm really happy to be here with all of you, and it's a good turnout. I'm glad all my relatives are here, and you're all setting the tone for all of us. So let's give each other a round of applause for being here and coming together and being good relatives. Can I get a lili? So, Pilamayaye Mitakuyapi, thank you for letting me speak before you. Like I said, my name is Chante Hart, and we are the Education and Outreach Committee. And so if there's any other committee members, could you please stand and give them a round of applause too, because they do a lot of hard work. Every week they're meeting and working together and bringing resources and bringing advice and being very helpful. And that's what it is to be a good relative. And that's how we were taught by our grandmothers and our relatives here. So I want to thank our grandmothers and our grandpas for showing us to be good relatives, because they're the ones who taught us how important it is to restore our land and keep our culture alive and to protect the Black Hills. And ever since we were little kids, it was ingrained into our brains that we need to protect the Black Hills and get our land back. And we are teaching our children that now. So we're really grateful and we're fired up to get our land back. So I would like to also introduce the rest of my committee members here.
Ha Madakuyapi, Anissa Martin, Amachiapi, Wachihi Wayakbe, Amachiapi, Oglala Lakota, Hemacha. My name is Anissa Martin. I'm from Pine Ridge, and I currently live in Maniluzaha, Rapid City, and I'm a member of the Education and Outreach Committee. I'm also an organizer with Indian Collective, and it's an honor to be here and to speak in front of you all. And I just want to give a shout out to Jody and Billy Joe and Lexi Cedric and Tuli Sissy for holding this space and creating this space for us. And I'll pass it over to Dwayne.
Chante waste na pe choose apelo matakiapi. Ampetu waste iohila. Ampetu namahumpo Sapa wichoye Sapa woyak sape kilena lila unkithapi. Ash omnichab lila waste na daya yahib daya ichanu matakiapi. And say good afternoon, to my elderly folks, overlook me as I stand here before you today to speak before you in a beautiful way, in our beautiful language. I come from Oglala Lakota. I reside on Red Shirt Table, South Dakota. Come from Tubos, Tioshpaye, Tatanka Nupa, Wakpa Washte, Tioshpaye, Hemacha. On my mom's side, I come from Sichangu, Lakota. I come from the Wasoso, Wakpa, Tioshpaye. Come from Uppercut Meat, South Dakota. So it's very honored, very thankful to the powers that be, that come here, the leaders. It feels good. Iumakpi, Salecha, Ampetukile, Lila, Taya Iohila, Taya Chote, Wamawaste. Feels good when I see the 7 council fires gather in a beautiful, humble way. Not too much, like Chante was sharing. We grew up young to now, as young leaders, young ambassadors, young spiritual people, to stand before our Oceti Sakowin like this. It's a dream, it's a prayer coming about, a generational teaching. The Sapa Wayankapi, that's a generational teaching that our kids are going to go on into the generations knowing the fight that our grandfathers put down to our aunties and uncles, our fathers and our mothers, and then went on now to us. So I just want to say thank you to our elderly folks, thank you. And then also I want to say thank you to the Education and Outreach Committee too. Say thank you to my Tanshi Mark. There's a lot of committee members that weren't able to be here, but I'm very thankful we could hold space and make things real nice for each and every one of you. So with that, I hand it over to Chante. Lila Wopila Chicha.
Wopila Misu. Next slide, Tiblo. So, like I said, we are the Education and Outreach Committee. We're kind of the Iapaha of the whole group, because we kind of tell everyone what's going on and share resources and share information. We want to create awareness and transparency, and that's why we are created, our subcommittee. So we are tasked with, educating the public, communicating with the public, creating talking points, and sticking to the story and letting everyone know, why we're doing this and why the importance is of why we protect our Black Hills and why we do the things we do. But it's because the elders asked us to do this. And so that is why we are keeping everyone aware. Next slide, please. So again, if there's any committee members watching, we're really thankful for everyone who meets. Like I said, they meet every week, no matter what. And so I'm really grateful to all of these relatives who go out of their way, because it's all volunteers. You know, we don't get paid to do this. We don't want recognition. We're doing this because we want the Black Hills back, and we want to be good relatives and work together. So wopila tanka, pilamayaye to all of our members. And also anyone is welcome to join us. You're all welcome to join us. So we'll have more information on how you can join. Next. I'll hand it over to Nisa to talk about our current efforts.
Okay. Before I get into outreach efforts, I just want to tell a little story. Last night we was putting up these teepees, and we had a group of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade boys who came in and helped. And I believe they're from Cannonball, but they came in and they was all eager to put up the teepees, and we was dividing everything up, and we was on this teepee over here. And I remember one of the boys was like, well, what are we setting these teepees up for? Like, what's going on here? And I was like, well, we're having a meeting tomorrow about the Sapa, and we're putting them up so that, you know, we can create like a beautiful environment tomorrow to have this meeting. And they were like, well, what's the Sapa, and why are we having a meeting about it? And I was like, the Sapa is the Black Hills. And I said, have you guys been to the Black Hills? And one of them was like, I've been there once. And then one said, well, I've never been there before. And then they started to kind of tease each other. And I was like, well, you know what? And I thought, I was keeping in mind too, like the attention span, because I know my attention span isn't very long. So I was like, all right, how can I really quickly explain colonization and land theft and how we got to this point today and why we're having this meeting? And so I broke it down, tried to as fast as I could, because in the meantime, you know, we're holding teepee poles because it's about to slide, and if you notice, there's rugs over there so that they won't slide and slip out. So in the meantime, I'm trying to tell them the story, and we're holding the teepee poles, and I tell them, I was like, the Sapa have always been our homeland, and that's where our creation story comes from. And so that's where we come from, and it's in your DNA. And I said, so even if you've never been there before, it's your home. And I want you to, you know, tell your friends that and tell your family that. So even if you've only been there once, or if you've never been there at all, just know that those are your homelands too. And so I was thinking, like, I hope that something lands and something sticks. And so we finished putting up the teepee, and then we go back, and I asked them, I said, hey, what is the Sapa? Like, do you remember what that is? And he's like, it's our homeland, and it's in my DNA. And to me, it was such a powerful moment, because I didn't think that they were listening. And so it's a reminder for me of how much I love working with the youth, but also that our youth are listening to us. And so even if we don't think that they're paying attention, they're listening. And so when we have these meetings and we stream them online, or we talk about these things with our older relatives, there's always young ones around, and they're always listening, and they're listening to how we treat each other and how we talk to each other, and they're learning. They're like sponges, and I tend to forget that. So yeah, last night was just a reminder for me that how important this work is that we're doing, and how important these meetings are too. So I just wanted to pass that along, because it gave me a lot of energy and a lot of motivation to keep doing this work. And it's a part of like what we do as a committee too. Some of our current outreach efforts, now I'll go back out of story mode into presentation mode. So outreach efforts, for this present meeting, we have KLND here. Keely was supposed to be here, but I think some last minute things came up, so they're not here. We're currently live right now on Indian Collective Facebook and YouTube, and we invited tribal council reps from Oglala Sioux Tribe, Rosebud Sioux Tribe, Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe, Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, Lower Brule Sioux Tribe, and Crow Creek Sioux Tribe, and I believe Lower Brule Sioux Tribe too. I'll go to the next slide. And we created a September newsletter. So if you pull out your phone, it's a QR code. You can take a picture of it and save it for later, but pull out your phone and bring up your camera and it'll bring up the link for our September newsletter. And if you're just now new to these meetings, it'll give you a background information on what we've done up to this point and how these meetings have gone and some of the different information that's been said in these meetings. And we have updates from each tribe, so the separate work that's been done on different homelands. And there's a lot of like pictures in there, and if you have any suggestions too, reach out to us, and we're open to evolving and making it reflective of what these efforts look like. Next slide. Okay, so we created a education and outreach Facebook. So if you've seen that floating around out there, yes, that's us. We don't have a face on it or anything because it's, again, a collective effort of a lot of us. And we've held teach-ins on Cheyenne River, Standing Rock, and in Pine Ridge. And we had some tabling efforts in Rosebud. And so that's what we've been doing from the last meeting up until this point. So from May throughout the summer and then into the fall time.
So we had some teach-ins, and I'll let Tashina talk about the teach-in she hosted in Cheyenne River, and we encourage others to host teach-ins too, though, so that we can teach more about what we're doing and you know, create more awareness.
Hamadakiabi, Chantai Wase na be choose a happy Tashina Sapa we machiapi Tasugaluza Tiospe Manta Sto. I won't go further, but hello, my relatives. Those who don't know me, I'm Tashina. I'm from Cheyenne River. I come from the Fast Horse, Tiospe, the many Teospes actually. So, but my grandmothers are the late Arlene Thompson, the late Rochelle Dusno, and I come from Frank Babe Dusno Teospe. But so we had teach-ins. Bear with me, I'm a little winded. 37 weeks pregnant, so it's hard to get words out. But so we had one teach-in in June. There was a pretty fair turnout. We're just trying to get into the communities and let folks know what's going on at these meetings so we can get more folks involved, you know, a younger crowd too, because we have our elders here, and but we need to see more young folks at these meetings, or at least at the teach-ins, and getting knowledgeable right now and the issues that we're up against here with Sapa. But when we held the teach-in on Cheyenne River, there's Sundances going on. I think there's like 3 that day, and then there's like 3 funerals too. So we only had maybe about 20 people there. But there's some good conversations, lots of concerns, and that's what we want. We want folks to come bring their ideas, bring their thoughts, bring their feedback, because it's not just one group, it's not just one entity, it's not just this person or that person, it's all of us as Oceti Sakowin. So I guess I just leave that with, we need more of these teach-ins to happen, so that way we can put our minds together, and especially bring in our younger folks too. They see us, they hear us, I'm young, you know, I listen, and we just need to get them more educated on these issues, so that, because it's a long fight. It's been a long fight. Over 100-year fight. So with that, I just want to say thank you, Wopila, to all of you, and allowing me to be in this space as well and help be part of these committees. But
Yeah, I'll get to that.
oh yeah, I'm just talking about the Cheyenne River stuff. I don't know anything else. No.
So We just wanted to encourage others to hold teach-ins, and if you wanted to hold a teach-in in your community, please get at us and we can help you with that. Tabling in Rosebud, we set up a booth. That's what tabling is setting up a booth and talking to the public. They set up a booth at Rosebud Fair. That's what the tabling in Rosebud was. We could just put booth up there next time. Setting up your nearest booth event. But so that's what tabling is setting up a table, talking to the public at any events or wherever you can where the public is. Next. So we created a page for informational documents and kind of a frequently asked questions, call to action, and talking points. So this is another QR code. If you take a picture of it on your phone, you can look at it later. Or if you're unable to do that, you can get at us and we can email it to you. Or however you want to do it. Just if you can't access it, come see us afterwards. Next.
So one of the last meetings we talked about how can we have these meetings together and we know that we're creating a sense of unity, but how can we display that on outside of these meetings? So we created the Oyate sign-on letter. And so what it is, it's kind of like a petition style. If you pull up your phone again and then bring up this link, it'll take you to a website and it pulls up a prompt, kind of like the background of this effort, and then it'll go into a letter that says that you support this effort, that you support the Sacred Sapa Restoration Act. And we drafted it out and worked on it with the Black Hills Sioux Nation Council and during the Porcupine teach-in that we had back in, I think the end of August, we was down there. And so we've been working on it and we've had a few different people edit it. And we haven't gotten it out too much, so I think there's only around like 100 signatures on it, which is still a lot, I think. I think 100 is a good number. But if you pull up the link and you're able to sign your name on that to show that you're in support, and you can put your Tioshpe's name on there as well, just showing that you're in support of this effort. Next slide, please.
All right, so the next steps for the E&O is all documents, we're doing our best to have translated into our Lakota language. And then the next one is to increase community outreach efforts, whether it's in the school, town halls, virtually, podcasts, radio recordings, and then to create a plan to utilize social media to disseminate information. Facebook, we have our link, the page on there. Like Anissa said, there's no label on it. It's just Education and Outreach Committee for the Sacred Black Hills Restoration Act. Also on Instagram and TikTok. Not too sure if any of the elderly folks are Insta friendly, but do our best to share, you know. I guess that's the coolest thing as young people. We're able to have the best of both. So next slide. All right, so the collaboration with all committees and communities to host the teach-ins on each reservation. So that's where we would need the input from each and every one of you relatives to host a teach-in, you know, challenge yourself and do your best to get this information out there. And then the next one is to invite your young people, your youth councils out there. And then also the radio, KLND, KILI, KIPI, KOYA. Hourly education sessions, reps from committees to present. So it just sounds like all that is a collaborative effort for each and every one of us to help each other. This is all that this is for each and every one of us to help each other. The next one is creating pamphlets, resources, and toolkits to educate the people. Keeping our tribal council leaders updated with current bill draft, and then creating a curriculum for schools that is in its early stages right now. Sacred Black Hills Restoration Act. Sapa wakama koche wapias elk agapo. Het Oceti Sakowin Sapa makoche ki lena hechet kya ake lena unki tapik dayalo. Ya chipi makoche milahans ka etahanki chimpik dalo. The Sacred Black Hills Restoration Act seeks the return of federal lands in the Sapa to the Oceti Sakowin. Sacred Sapa makoche wakanki lena wiopeshni. Sapa makoche wakanki lena mazaska dakuni unchimpshni alo. Mazaska dakuni el etan unchimpshni 1980 hetahan. Sapa makoche la kol oyate ake. Sapa makoche wakan ake yuhapikte yalo. Hena he chumps unk ayapi la kol oyate. He sapa makoche wakan tapiki ake la ko oyate na pe el iuha unki chinkta ya yo yellow. The Black Hills are not for sale. No money will be accepted for the Black Hills. This effort to return the Black Hills to indigenous lands is not about the acceptance of not about accepting the 1980 settlement money. It's solely about getting indigenous lands back to indigenous hands. Sapa makoche wakan wapia sech elk agapo. Oyate unias wajin unkich elo. This Black Hills Sacred Lands Return Strategy Sessions is hosted by Standing Rock Sioux Tribe with participation by representatives from the Sichagu Lakota Oyate Treaty Council, the Wakpa Washte Treaty Council, the Hunkpapa Lakota Oyate Treaty Council, and with participation from the tribal governments of Oglala Sioux Tribe, Rosebud Sioux Tribe, Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe, and Standing Rock Sioux Tribe. Standing Rock Sioux Tribe is providing logistical support to the treaty councils, our traditional leadership, and the tribes in this effort. Hohet. Standing Rock Sioux Tribe passes resolution on June 5th, 2024 to support and initiate the Sacred Black Hills Restoration Act. Wopila hunk papa na ihunk tuan oyate. Hahu. Oh, so the QR code is right here for the draft. Is that what that is for? Oh, the resolution. The resolution, if you could take a picture of it, and if you're unable to, just get at us. We'll do our best to provide some materials. Wopila hunk papa na ihunk tuan oyate.
So again, we want to thank the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe for being the first to pass the resolution and setting the tone, and so we would like the rest of the tribes to follow. So Wopila Tanka again to the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe and all the council members who are here. Give them a round of applause. And a lili. And a drum beat. And also next, let's give Rosebud a round of applause too while we're at it. Rosebud Sioux Tribe passed their resolution October 23rd to support and initiate the Sacred Black Hills Restoration Act. So Wopila Sichangu Oyate, and we got our chairwoman here too. So Wopila chairwoman. And thank you for setting the tone, and we'd also like the rest of the tribes to follow suit for these two great tribes. Hey. But thank you again. And I know, I think Eagle Butte or Cheyenne River, Cheyenne River and OST are next to pass the resolution, so we hope they pass their resolution. So next, we have some calls to action. What can you do to help us? What can you do, all of the watchers out there who weren't able to make it to our meeting today? You can ask your tribes to continue to pass these resolutions. Like I said, we still need all of our tribes to be united in support of this idea. Another thing you can do is when you travel to sacred sites in the Sapa, you could take offerings and pray. And for the return of the Black Hills, you know, the power of prayer is big to us. You know, prayers are real, and we're thankful for all the prayers that happened so far. Also, you could request that your traditional treaty councils and decision-making bodies give letters of support for the Sacred Black Hills. Next. You can educate yourselves on the history of Sapa so you could educate others. One thing you could do is watch Lakota Nation versus United States, which is on Hulu. that's a good documentary that talks about the history of our Black Hills. Like we said earlier, like Tashina, you could host a teach-in and educate your community about the Sacred Black Hills Restoration Act. We encourage all of you to host a teach-in in your community, and we can help you. So if you would like to, if you're interested in that, please let us know. And like I said, everyone is welcome to join us. You can get involved and join any of these committees. You're all welcome to join us. We have legislative, logistics, bill drafting, spiritual, and the education and outreach committee, which is the most fun. Hey, just kidding. And then also, you could add your voice to the sign-on letter. Like we said, you could take a picture of that QR code. If you were unable to get it, you can contact us and we can email it to you and show your support by signing the Oyate sign-on letter. Next.
Okay, how to get involved. At one of the last meetings, there was a ton of questions and a ton of people saying, well, we should do it this way and we should do it that way. And the beautiful thing about this is we all have the opportunity to sit at the table, where, like how we create it now is how we wanted to model this whole effort, is that we all have a seat at the table. We're not pushing anybody out, and we want to make sure that everybody's voice is heard. So if you're not able to speak up today, or if you don't feel like you don't want to, we open the opportunity to join one of the committees. And if you want to join another committee, you can reach out to our committee and we'll put you in contact with the right person. And Education and Outreach Committee has been meeting weekly, so we have been meeting consistently. And sometimes it's just it's a good space to talk about these efforts. And we've heard a ton of good stories from a lot of our elders who pop in from time to time. And we're really grateful that they do come. Gaka, Claude, Tuak has came in and offered a lot of words of wisdom. Lexi, Cedric, and Gaka, Little Thunder comes in every now and then. Lexi, Tui, Manny, and Renee come in too. And so we have a lot of good, powerful voices in our committees, and it's one of my favorite spaces during the week. And so we want to extend our hand to anybody who wants to join. Please join us and reach out to us via our email right there, educationandoutreach24@gmail.com, or you call the office and they'll put you in contact with us as well. And I just want to give a big shout out to the Black Hills Sioux Nation Council. That was my bad for not putting y'all in that, updating the slide in there. So I love you all, and you're so important, and just don't want you all to forget that. But yeah, and I'll pass this one on to Dwayne.
I don't want his treaty money. I want the land back. Oh, Wopila.
Wopila. So Pilamaya again, Wopila Tanka. We are just the messengers, and we appreciate all the encouragement and everything that we're doing, and we invite you to join us. And thank you for listening. And Lila Wopila Tanka to Tui Jody Arshambo and Billy Joe and Standing Rock and everyone else who made today happen. Lila Wopila Tanka. Pilamaya ye.
All right, let's give these presenters another round of applause. Thank you to the committees here. Right now in our agenda here, don't worry, gosh, Papi, the travel bucks are on their way, so everyone's sitting there wishing for a turkey club. Right now, we're going to turn it on over here to Jody Arshambo and Lexi.
He stuck him in the teepee. We part of the educational committee here, we want to say thank you to some people here coming to Standing Rock and bringing everything, your work that you've done so far on the Restoration Act. First of all, we want to congratulate Rosebud for passing the resolution that you did. It opens up a whole new mindset down there. And although we started our committee one time, that Zoom committee, and before we got going with anything else, we watched it on YouTube. So we got a chance to see everything going on in action, and I admire Chris for what he did, and stand right up and express himself the way he did, and I appreciate the votes that followed suit, and it was good to see. So we want to, first of all, we want to ask Chris if he would come up. Chris, we want to thank you for championing that resolution and taking it through to your governing body. And this is Chris Eagle Bear, grandson. Takoja. And then we want to ask the chair lady if you would come up as well. We appreciate you, what you did, be able to stand up and be a part of your governing body, to be able to lead your people, and to also not be scared to take that step. So we want to encourage you today and ask that you continue to do your work, to help us along the way as well. All right, then we want to, the Black Hills Treaty Council, Bill Means, if you would come up and accept the quilt as well. But just want to thank you guys for gathering and giving the people the idea and the prayer that all you gentlemen shared that night in the ceremony. It's coming to fruition here with all the people that we've been able to gather over the last few years, year and a half here, and it's getting to that point where we're gonna go to the legislature and say, here, we're gonna say it this way as well. And there's other things that are going on in our country. You know, there's people are saying, do it this way, talking about the UN. Do it this way. They're talking about the chair signing a MOU with the Forest Service, and there's other people saying, no, don't even do it that way, you know. But however you're doing it, there was one common thread that we're all saying about the Black Hills, and that's it. And that is, it's sacred. We're all saying that, and one way or another, we're going to get that point across. So that's the effort that we're doing here. And we want to thank you guys for supporting that. This next one is Frank Starr comes out. Frank, we appreciate you coming to all the meetings and saying the good words that you do, and sharing your personal feelings about the Black Hills, sharing the society that you belong to down there in Oglala. So we want to thank you for doing those things and coming forward and telling your people that what we want to do is take a very, very serious look at the Black Hills. This is an undying effort. You know, we've always ran into blocks and hoops and stuff, but this is generational and it's an undying effort. Okay, we want to call forward Holly McCook.
Yeah, well, we have Frank up here, and what I just wanted to say, and I've been saying this, Frank Starr comes out, has the leader of us Oglalas. He's done more in 2 years as this tribal president than any other tribal president in memory. And whether it's a meeting of 5 people down in Hot Springs, or we're rallying together with hundreds of us, Frank's always there. and his love and dedication to the Black Hills is without question. And I just want to thank you, and I really respect you for the stances that you've taken.
Holly Cook McCarl. I think I said that wrong, huh? Blended it all into one. Came to Hunkmapa country and gave her a new name. Now, Charles Walker. I want to thank you from Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, really, because, you know, we were honored that they allowed us to go through the legislative process. We went to judicial, and then judicial went to full council with their minutes, and we got a chance to address the full council as well on this, and they passed that resolution. Because, you know, as part of when they swear in their inauguration, part of what they say is that they swear to uphold the 1868 treaty. And this is within those treaty boundaries as well. It's very much a part of all that we do. So we wanted to acknowledge that effort that Standing Rock is doing. Something that we're proud of. And this last one's for Billy Joe. If you've seen her around, you've probably only seen her for a couple seconds. But she's that kind of person. She's busy, she gets things done, and one day, you know, she's gonna be able to do a lot more for more people, and she's gonna be more noticeable. So we wanted to also give her a gift as well. And this comes from our committee here and the people that have welcomed you, each and every one of you that have come here to Standing Rock. We appreciate your presence. We appreciate the input you have done so far. And we appreciate all the support. And as you go home and wherever you go home to, you know, to tell your people to come and acknowledge just by your presence, to learn by reading what we have to offer. And if there's something in there that you don't feel comfortable with, tell us. We could change it. And if it can be changed, we will let you know why it's like that. So we wanna once again say thank you. And anybody else have anything else to say?
He's gonna sing.
Oh, Dwayne's got a song.
He better.
Right on, Matakiapi. I want to say thank you guys once again, and thank you to my auntie, my Tui, beloved Tui, my Lexi. You know, always feels good when I come up to Hunkpapa Makoche. You know, every time I come, I feel that love. You know, the way that our grandparents were, the way that our aunties and uncles are. You know, Eo Makpi. You know, I still feel that. Keeping on that Wola Kota way that we all have, that we all kind of get stew every now and then, but Dakomani. Daku wa shtek te hecheling te lo, you know, that's how I know it. Because this, like I said, this is a generational teaching. When I was a little guy, probably about 8 years old, 7 years old, you know, I received a little blue pin, like a little pin that you attach on your shirt, and it has a blue background, and then there's a image of Matopaha on there, and it says the Black Hills are not for sale. And I still have that from Ihani. You know, it's probably about 20, 30 years old now, but I still have it. It hangs on my wall. And so I still carry that. And for my son, you know, we're talking about the 7th generation. You know, my Michinks, you know, my son, he's of the 7th generation. He is our 7th one in our family. And so we really honor that. And he carries a Lakol Chaje, that's 7 generations old. So whenever I hear this 7th generation prophecy, it makes me feel good that we're trying to keep our mind at least that far ahead, 7 generations ahead, so that, you know, maybe whenever it's time for him to lead the way that I'm raising him to be, you know, he's going to take care of our people. He's going to be standing here like this, talking to the next generation. when we're no longer here, when we're sitting on the sideline like the elderly folks, we could say, Daya Ichanu Walo, like that. So I just kind of wanted to share that, with the relatives that are here. And I say thank you to our leaders once again, because whenever you're going to lead from the back forward, from the bottom up. We can't be leading with this chief mindset, looking down. A leader is going to be unshika. A leader is going to give his clothes off his back to whoever needs it. To me, that's a leader. So Ichan, Lila Wopila, Chichiapi, Daya Yahipi, does me real well. So with that, I'm going to honor each and every one of us with a song that was composed by my Tahashi, Julius, Not Afraid. He composed this song and it went viral all over Facebook. But with this prayer, with this song, I want each and every one of you to remember your Black Hills. Remember your sanctuary. Remember the ways that your grandparents prayed for you. Remember the ways that was passed down, our teachings, our wichoye. We're doing our best to carry on in a very good way as next generation spiritual ambassadors, as next generation leaders. It's you, the older ones' imprints that we're trying to follow. So I say thank you to each and every one of you again. Ask the Creator to be with each and every one of you as you leave through these doors today. It does me real well to see this. Haven't seen something like this since we were all here, holding radical space for our Mani Wichoni just down the way. So if it does me real well to visit these hallways again, to see our relatives here once again. So I say, Wopila, Chichia below, and bear along with me. I'm going to share a song with you, and then we'll continue on. Hohecha tu elo. Iyo iyam yauelo, iyo iyam yauelo, iyo iyam yauelo, iyo iyam yauelo, trunkashila wakatanka uelo, hai hai oi, iyo iyam yauelo, iyo iyam yauelo, iyo iyam yauelo, iyo iyam yauelo, trunkashila wakatanka uelo, hai hai o, hochoka lewaka uelo, iyo iyam yauelo, iyo iyam yauelo, trunkashila wakatanka uelo, hai hai oi, hochoka lewaka uelo, iyo iyam yauelo, iyo iyam yauelo, trunkashila wakatanka uelo, hai hai o, iyo iyam yauelo, iyo iyam yauelo, iyo iyam yauelo, iyo iyam yauelo, trunkashila wakatanka uelo, hai hai o, hochoka lewaka uelo, iyo iyam yauelo, iyo iyam yauelo, trunkashila wakatanka uelo, hai hai o, huacha tulo metakwe wasu.
Oh, thank you. So right now in our agenda we have right on what are the next steps? What are the action items? I know that earlier today we had various recommendations and solutions for moving forward, and I'd like to revisit some of those discussion, those individuals who had said, you know, there's ways, we're not here looking for to ask more questions. We're here for solutions and answers and guidance to move forward. And I'm grateful for everybody here, because not only those that that offered guidance, but those that asked the questions have really got us to thinking of different avenues that we need to pursue and think about as we move forward, as it has to be planned out in a way that we have to adjust, because we know there's going to be a lot of different factors, variables, liabilities, such as moving forward, there's not going to be one easy way. So in our next steps, I want to offer the microphone back to our people again here to share some of those planning steps. I know first we do have Standing Rock's resolution. We have Rosebud, the Sichanchu resolution. And now we're asking the other tribes to join us in seeking legislation for our Black Hills. So if the other tribes or any other, our matriarchs, our treaty people, representatives, Nacha, our headmen, now is your time if you want to speak and give some input to help guide us on how we should proceed or some of the dangers of proceeding. So right now, everyone's sugar must be high. No, I'm just kidding. Back here, I mean, I shouldn't be teasing like that. Pretty rock solid moment here. Talking Domakchan. Hey, there's my thing, lost signal too for my. All right, we're coming on over here. Wakpawashte. Okay.
Pilama. Homitakiapi. Vivian Hayao Kimacha. Na Pejitro Wakpa Mataha. Wakpa Washte Oyanke Elwati. My name is Vivian Hayaukin. I come from the community of Greengrass on the Cheyenne River, the 4 bands. And today I want to share a little bit of information, the reality of things on Cheyenne River. As Okcheo, we almost said something else. As Okcheo, we I guess I have some complaints. It might not be in relationship to this Black Hills claim or restoration, but it's in regards to land. On Cheyenne River, we live on a little over 2 million acres, tribal and allotted lands. And recently, back in August of 2023, August 2nd of 2023, there was a resolution passed on Cheyenne River. And it was kept really subtle, real quiet, secretive. And it had to do with most of our lands. This resolution was passed by a tribal council. And they worked secretly. The chairman of the tribe went to Washington, D.C. And there's pictures of him on Facebook where he's signing off our lands. He signed off 1.5 million acres to a government entity, which is called USDA. And the land contract, it's illegal to even sign contracts with land, especially to a government entity. They're supposed to be the ones that have our trust and fiduciary responsibilities, yet they stole our land for 10 to 15 years. This contract was signed over, and just the other day I heard 294 million came in. So who's going to benefit off our land that's going to be tied up? I overheard some of the ranchers talking about it, and they said they're going to start fencing that land off. That 1.5 million acres, they're going to start fencing off. So where are we supposed to go? We barely have any land. What are we supposed to do when we want to go dig teamsila or pick turnips? I mean, dig teamsila and pick fruits, cherries, you know, berries. Where are we going to turn to? So they locked our lands up, and it's only going to benefit a few, the ranchers. And yet, on the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe has a constitution bylaws. In Article 1, they are limited, yet they're over there signing agreements, MOUs with, or MOAs with Forest Service off our treaty lands. In Article 1, they diminished the 1868 and 1851 treaties because their boundaries are only within the Cheyenne River, on this side of Faith, South Dakota, on this side of, just on the other side of the river there, south going towards Pierre, on this side of Gettysburg, and just a little past Timber Lake. Those are their boundaries. And yet that's what they did. They're doing to our Black Hills. And I'm upset because my son stood up on treaty issues against Keystone, KXL pipeline, out on the southwestern part of the reservation near Phillip. And he was arrested. Him and another female relative were both arrested because they took a stand on treaty land, treaty rights, because that's all our land. And I kept trying to get help for attorneys, for legal assistance, legal help. This tribe wouldn't help me, wouldn't help any of them. So my son ended up with 12 charges. None of these councilmen even offered their help or support or anything, not even at the court. He had to go to court at Phillip, South Dakota on those 12 charges. And his cash bond was $10,000. Nobody was around. All these people that talk treaty, there's no show of them. These great men that always pushed for treaty issues. There was nobody. And I hear, you know, people talking about the nation, you know. We're a nation. How could you be a nation when you're part of the government, the IRA government? How could you be a nation when your boundary's only within that and you're an arm of the federal government already? How could you be a nation? The nation consists of a Tiwahi, a Tioshpaya, an Oshpaya with traditional laws. Umutrani. That's what a nation is, and that's where the real sovereignty is. And yet, they're pushing nation and sovereignty, so something has to change. With this Black Hills issue, you need to work with the treaty people. And these IRA people they're supposed to only be a place where they do business for us. Because under Article 5 of the 1851 treaty, they're supposed to be backing us up. Restitution, and other benefits that come under that. That's all. They're only a dispersing office. Yet they're held really high, like they're above us all. I'm not well. I know people condemn me for speaking out, and that'll probably happen again. I've been sabotaged because I had a dream of Oceti Sakowin. She came to me in my dream. She told me to have a feast and a giveaway in her honor. So I did. It took me a while, but I did. I had the giveaway and the feast. And I got no kind of help again. Instead, I was condemned. I was sabotaged. They said, how could she have a dream? One of the main people that's the keeper, supposedly the keeper, who stole our chanupa and moved it to Dakota country, sabotaged me, saying over the radio that how could I have a dream when I only live in public housing? Oyate, you can't sabotage people, especially grassroots people. We're barely surviving, we're barely living. And these dreams, they're like a direction or guidance for us. And the Chanupa brought laws to Oceti Sakowin, White Buffalo Calf Pipe woman. If we have a disaster, you're supposed to rely on her. Or if we're hungry, if we need peace, we want peace, we need to rely on her, the laws that she brought. But we're not doing that. Instead, we let our stronghold down. The Chanupa was brought back to Greengrass and supposed to remain there for life, to the Itazipcho Lakota people. And now it's in Dakota country. And it was done all secretly. So Cheyenne River really doesn't have a stronghold. We have a flag that has the emblem of the Chanupa, the bundle. Those teachings from her should have been all there on Cheyenne River. These papers that they're signing or doing, those mean nothing in the Chanupa. Under the Chanupa, there's nothing. Only prayer and offerings. Your offerings for with your Chanleopachta or your sage, your cedar. All those, you could pray with. So what's going on here with this Black Hills issue? You need to go into prayer with it, especially with this new president that's going to get in. All the things he's going to do to our people. Who knows, how we'll be protected. But the only thing to stand on is the Chanupa, the ways of the Chanupa. Because these papers aren't going to protect you. Anyway, so we need to go back to like a traditional form of government. Recognize these treaty organizations or treaty groups. Hold them number one, because they're the ones that have the chanupas. They have their societies that they're going to establish. They're the ones that should carry all the laws. That's the real law there. So thank you for listening to me. And I don't mean to be so blunt and hurt feelings or step on toes. And I apologize. Chichila. Chichila. Nampetuki. Hopilama happy.
All right. Who's next? Who wants to share some insight, speak some words? Who's long-winded? We don't care. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, get this guy right here. He said he'll get carried away like a... They're all pointing at someone over here. He's being humble, so he said, I don't put myself in front of people unless I'm winning. Hey, is it bingo, huh? All right. You know, we shared with one of the committees had talked about watching Lakota Nation versus United States. Let's talk to one of the individuals here that was part of that production here, Mrs. Phyllis Young.
Hopila. Chante weste na pe chuzapi. Wichoni. Bini wichoni. Wichozani na wichoni weste yuha. I welcome you to Standing Rock, to Ihunktawa territory. I tried to be here at 7:30 this morning, and my daughter had a hearing at 9, and she's still in it, fighting for her job. So at 3, I had to go get Takoja out of school. So he's waiting for me in a car, but he has his phone like everyone does now, so he's happy. So I made it back. So I want to share with you a little bit history and chronology, since we're the old folks here. You see Bill Means, and he's going to turn into a rock pretty soon. Standing Rock. And my sisters, Madonna, Mabel Ann, and we're the 3 grandmothers that have towed the mark and towed the line all of our lives. I'm privileged to be a part of their family and mine. So I don't want to be too far back, but I'll tell you our ages. They're in their 80s, and I'm 75. So I just want to tell you a little bit about Standing Rock. I'll go backwards for all the Heokas here. Standing Rock just passed a resolution to create a homeland, and we're petitioning Cheyenne River to endorse that resolution. And we're going to do a settlement of all of the land and all of the water. We've created a adjudication code. We cast off the English word quantification, but we adjudicated ourselves in 1975 at Standing Rock. The government prohibited water codes, but Standing Rock adopted a water code in spite of that. So we have the adjudication of water for Sioux Nation.
in 1975. So we now have the code. We're going to put the numbers in there. We're going to respect the natural flow. We're moving forward, and we probably have to hold our breath for 4 years. But that is a very small time compared to our space and time for Lakota people. We've dealt with Andrew Jackson in the past, and we survived, and we will survive this next term for Trump. And so we have the resolution, and we will be asking for support, and we're creating, hopefully, my vision is to create a green, it's too long a word for me, goes too far, but it's the green line. It's an environmental effort to create a wind line transportation. And so we're meeting with Holland. People in Holland are coming here, the original windmill people that we're trying to, I said, we're gonna do a railroad line down to Rock Creek, which is 50 miles south. And someone said, Madonna said, what about Eagle Butte? It's only 90 miles, because with 1 hour of wind power, you can go 90 miles on this line, this bus line. So we said, okay, well, Eagle Butte, be there in 1 hour. And then some Oglala said, well, what about bringing that line on down to Oglala country? So it's growing, and we're gonna propose to have that green line go all the way down for transportation. So we're dreaming, and we're creating. So I serve as the vice chairman of the Standing Rock Energy project that we have here on Petui. So we have contract with the Waki Oyate, very cautiously creating our own time and space. 4 years for creating timelines and thresholds, but we're dealing with putting solar on all of the community buildings. I know we're way behind Rosebud, and we're way behind Oglalas and Cheyenne River. So we've got to step up and do these 3, wind, solar. We're old stuff on geothermal. Our college was geothermal for 60 years, so we have 3 new buildings going up. We have, well, the 2 elementary schools are green certificates. They are geothermal, and we're building a new cultural center at the college, Sitting Bull College, and that will be geothermal. So having had the experience of geothermal using water, boiler type, but new technology, of course. So we're working with any tribe that wants to start geothermal. And then we have hydropower. Lakota Nation has 5 billion, B as in boy, 5 billion, that is the data for the hydropower up till 2007. So we're now trying to access some of that, and we have a financial corpus of 90.6 million that has been just sitting there for 40 years, not accruing anything, or no compound interest, or no exciting things, no movement with that money or that investment. So the Standing Rock has gone on record to withdraw that 90.6 million and to invest in it for ourselves. And so we have attorneys who are moving forward to withdraw that, and hopefully we can make some movement with that. So in 2000, we had a referendum here for a traditional government, and that was passed by the people in a vote, and nothing was done with it. So we're trying to move into that next stage of creating an elders council and seeking funding for it. So old stuff, but we're trying to reactivate some of the objectives that were created by the grandmas and grandpas before us. So that's contemporary, last 20 years. In 2007, we created the Missouri River Basin Indian Allottees Association, and Louis Debray from Cheyenne River was the vice chair of that organization, and I serve, and I continue to serve today as the secretary of that organization. But in 2007, we filed a major lawsuit, and on behalf of all of the allottees, timber allotments on the Missouri River for all 7 council fires from Santee to Fort Peck. And that was in 2007. So we're trying to revive that. And our attorney is a former solicitor in Interior. So he sort of knows how to do things, but Trump stands to change a lot of the regulations, particularly Indian regulations. So we're moving forward with that on behalf of the landowners on the Missouri River. We are asking for lease money, and we're codifying all of the timber allotments and putting them into our code so that we continue to validate the ownership of the riverbed and the timber allottees who will be owners of that system. So we're moving forward with that. And in 2018, we filed 10 lawsuits. We own the riverbed, we own the mineral rights of Minnesota, and that's all of us from Sioux Nation. I say Sioux Nation because that's the government treaty with us, and that's what it's called in the archives, the treaty paper. But in parentheses, it says Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota. So we're reviving and kicking some life into the litigation that we filed back in the day, and we agreed that we would not go back to 1920 when we filed the Black Hills. So the Black Hills were the longest ever in a court in the United States. For 70 years, that was in the court system. And no one really knew how to do anything about it. The lawyers, Francis Case, lived and died going through their work, and different ways of thinking, different areas. And Sanofsky's law firm were the founders of the Indian Land Claims Commission, and their were the objectives that were created were money only and no land return. So those are the statutory or executive ways that we have to deal with that. And so I know the Black Hills case is considered major, arbitrary, capricious lawsuit. And in the international community, it's considered a moral obligation that they tried to fill. And you'll see in the preamble of that case that there is a moral case that they say. But in the United Nations work group sessions that we argued with the State Department of the United States, their statement was that we have no moral or cultural obligation to anyone in the United States, and that was at the UN. So it's incumbent upon us to take up that moral obligation, to take up that cultural obligation, define it and declare it, and codify it. We say the treaty is ours, the treaty is statutory, the treaty is higher than executive. So what people are doing with Russia and creating all this rhetoric about the presidential powers, etc., that's executive. Those are crimes against America, which are the boundaries of Lakota Nation, are statutory. And that's the highest level. That's higher than executive. That's higher than the presidential White House. So we are at the highest level standards in the world. And we do have that obligation to fight everything morally and culturally. So you'll see how they're using culture to put that into the workplace, and not in the Indian terminology of culture, but for those to dissolve the real meaning of culture in America by absorbing it and putting it into different segments of their society, so that we no longer have a cultural obligation. So we need to define it, and we need to fight on. So there's new principles, new standards, new technologies, and new mind games that our younger people will learn and continue this. So we filed 8 lawsuits, and it all has to do with leasing for minerals. Up to 2007, we are owed $55 million for the mineral rights. And then the riverbed, 20,000 acres, we are owed 5 valuations, the high mark, the low water mark, which are water rights. Navigation, which we don't really have or use. We have navigation right, but we do not use it because they don't have the industrial systems that go through here, like Missouri and down to the tail of the Missouri River. So we have to clearly define what's ours, but we are adjudicating within that code. Santee has joined, and Yankton has joined, and we have 3 seats available for Cheyenne River, 3 seats for Standing Rock, and hopefully we can reorganize and include Oglala Nation and Sichangu that are listed in the, Sichangus are listed as a river tribe. So we need to really move forward with some of the work that we're doing, continuing. So we're at the point where we're trying to create the Elders Council. And so hopefully we can move with that, and under that we'll have different areas of concern: the environment, the land, the health. And so we're trying to reactivate or create objectives from the referendum vote. We had 24 amendments in our constitutional convention that we had for 11 years. So we're trying to revive as much as we can on what the people have already voted on. So I just want to share some contemporary history, but one of these young Oglala said, hey, remember one time you came to Pine Ridge and you told us a story? So I'm going to tell that story for his sake. In 1970, Chief Foolscrow had a national call for the American Indian movement to come to talk about the Sundance, the sacred Sundance. He said it's time for us to separate the sacred Sundance from the circus. And he meant the rodeos, the carnival, the powwow, all the contests they had, horse, everything they had. And then they had the Sundance. But the Sundance was a tourist sort of thing that they played out, but they were paid to Sundance. And Russell Means, my mentor, my prophet, person I worked with, and truly my brother. And he was one of them, that Sundance there, and he always felt guilty about it. And I said, don't worry, I won't talk about it until you're long gone to the other side. So I kept my word. I never said it, but we would laugh about it. And I always tried to convince him that it was the underground. And I said, thank you to the Lakota Nation for keeping alive the actual steps and the songs and the dance, even though you got paid for it and you were a tourist attraction, you were underground and you got to keep it and you continued it. So the younger generation, and I give credit to Chief Foolscrow, and I'm privileged that I'm an old lady because I lived in his time and space, and the transition of knowledge, incredible freedom, incredible thought processes that keep me alive. I'm so privileged to have known the mindset of the late, great Chief Foolscrow. And so he taught us a lot of things. He had a national call, and Madonna and Mabel Ann hitchhiked from Cleveland, Ohio, because we were Cleveland American Indian Movement, and we were on relocation. We wanted to be spoiled Americans. Oh, curl our hair and dance rock and roll and drink Coca-Cola. You know, some of those are some of the good things. And Sitting Bull always said, pick up the good things and leave the bad behind. So we thought the taxi was a good thing, the elevator, the lift. So we were happy for those accommodations. We're spoiled Americans, but we're dual citizens, and we're Lakota first, and we're American second. So Foolscrow gave us that drive, that vim and vigor, and that truth and that sacredness that we all needed. That was a big kick in 1970. And so the Sundance started to be that sacred. It was held in Sichangu country at Crow Dog's Paradise. And the dancers that were there. And then we had it at Greengrass, and we created an international Sundance to protect the ones who were facilitators of the Sundance. Stanley, Looking Horse, the keeper of the pipe, to keep him protected from prosecution and persecution and defy the government policy, because it was only policy, wasn't the law. No one in the United States could make a law prohibiting the religion or the religious aspect of our spirituality. So you were all called, and we were introduced to a young boy. He was 15 years old, and Fool's Crow said, this is the medicine boy. He had long black hair. Young boy came in there, and Fool's Crow introduced us to him. And he said, this is the one to follow. This is the one that has the spirit and will carry it forward for not only Oglala Nation, but for Indian country, for all Sioux Nation. His name was Wilmer Mesteth, and he was 15 years old. So he was our medicine boy. And so we all went to the Sundances that he facilitated. And he was also a part of the Native American church. And so we went to the ceremonies, and my grandchildren were baptized at Cheyenne Creek. We went there for ceremonies many times. So I'm not only colonized Washichu style, Iwashichu and Hotanka from Standing Rock. I went to live at Rosebud, Hunka. I have 5 Hunka families there. Beautiful people. Took my children there, and they learned. My daughter went to Sichangu, SGU, for 1 year she studied the language under the great teachers that were part of that. Rosebud was always the coolest place, you know, where you could dance to those 5 cowboys, what's their names? And they had a band, and so the kids all loved to go swimming, pick fruit, and I went to Pine Ridge, and I belonged to the 2 of the largest Tioshpas down there. And I was adopted in ceremony at Rosebud at Ideal and at Rosebud Hochoka. And was taken in the circle, and it was actually supper time at Rosebud, and this Onchi said, Wana, she called me. I went over there. I said, Daku, and she said, put the green shawl around me, and she went to the arbor and at Antelope. And the drums were all gone, and there was one drum there, and she told them, sing, Oloa. And here, so then she took me in that circle all by myself, took me around, and they sang, and she waved her scarf and put that shawl on me. They sang a Hunka song and came out, and she said, Hechetu, you're my granddaughter forever. So that's Medicine Eagle. So Lita Medicine Eagle is my Hunka sister. Geraldine Arcorn was my Hunka sister. Yellow Eagles from Cleveland days, those are our Hunka. And so Crow Dog was my Hunka brother. So I'm taking up more time, so when they stand up respectfully, I have to cut myself off. But I have so much to share. It was that national call that Fool's Crow made that created the pathway for us to go forward. We fought against sterilization. We got the Indian Health Service to pass legislation to prohibit sterilization in the 90s, and we marched in Washington in the Trail of Broken Treaties for Indian Child Welfare Act, Indian religious freedom. We did a lot of advocacy work. We were plaintiffs against Union Carbide in the Black Hills in 1980. We prevailed. Madonna helped to create the Cowboys and Indian Alliance, the CIA, in the Black Hills. We were part of the stopping the Etsy pipeline, water coal slurry pipeline in South Dakota. And when you when you experience the taste of victory, no matter how the fleeting moments are, you never want less. You never want less. And I can't say enough about who we are, who our people are. Know that we are the most beautiful people in the world. We have the most beautiful language and thought processes, and we are people of peace. So we continue, and it's hard to tell our children that when we were wild and woolly in our day, but we could do anything under the table, take anyone on, and I think we can still do that, but I think we can do, I'm so happy that you came here to Standing Rock.
I know you're going to talk all day, so I'm going to give you a hug. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Thank you for hearing me and letting me talk. I don't have to seize the microphone anymore, but I have to give it up. So, Wopila.
All right, thank you, Phyllis. Right now, we're coming to the end of our day here. We want to have the discussion right now. Plans moving forward to continue this discussion, this planning, and strategizing. We want to ask who's going to host our next meeting. I heard someone say us over here. So we have the Rosebud Sioux Tribe, Sichanhu Oyate, has committed to hosting our next meeting. Do you have a date? January. Put your hands together, our relatives. They're going to host our next strategy meeting here. Where are you going to host it at? Sure. Yeah, give her the mic. Let her talk about it. Let's have her commit to their casino.
I'll give you an acronym, TBA. No, we're gonna talk about it, and we'll either have it at our Sinte Gleshka University or at our casino. But we'll be in touch with you, and we'll let you know exactly when. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So right now we're gonna come to the end of today here. I'm gonna ask my Uncle Alan flying by if you say a closing prayer for us, and we're gonna ask our singers to sing us a song here to close out today. And as those that are expecting some traveling funds, sit tight. I got some information for you to get those cashed here too before you leave. So, Sitting Bull song. Hope. Right after Lexi's done praying for us.
Mitakuye oasi. Hoya mitakuye pile. Twenty le oyate wichitchokap na walonashni. Asle olon kile kithala mitchawa chin yunaha. Le chala le tunkashi lawa kithala chajela tab yukan hoye. Tunkashi la fool's crow. He kithala chajela tab na. Chahe travons pe uge maspe. Na olon kile uspe makia chahe awayeng telo. Amichik tu Japo gana hoki yemachetuk teshnichechelo.
Thank you. P'chalani wakpa hokawi chasha. Want to say thank you once again, everyone that has come here today. If you filled out a W-9 form to get some travel, you're going to have to come on over here and see Billy Joe. But if you need to cash your check here today at the casino, they have some conditions. Must have your valid ID, but also you have to sign up for their Gold Club. And I'm not lying about that. It's not a joke. I know everyone's like, oh, this guy's got jokes. But no, you have to sign